One of the one of the biggest news stories, I should say, coming out of day one this past weekend, the WWE's newest pay-per-view, is Brock Lesnar winning the WWE Championship. And during the match, which was originally, a fatal four-way, then turned into a fatal five-way, was the interactions between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. And a lot of people have said that those interactions, as small and and insignificant as they were enough for people to be convinced that there's your main event for one of your big four pay-per-views. A lot of people felt that that's your main event for Mania, but nope, we're getting it a lot sooner. We're getting it at the Royal Rumble. Now, the question obviously is, how did this come about? Well, I'm sure a lot of you have heard by now that Roman got COVID. And apparently he's all right. He's going to be back on Friday, to address the situation. And reports saw Brock, because of his contract status, will also be on SmackDown to confront him, thus teasing a potential unification match at WrestleMania, or maybe even a triple threat at the Royal Rumble, which could be a unification match in itself. Either way, both Brock and Roman will be on SmackDown. But what does this have to do with, Bobby Lashley? Well, Bobby Lashley, because of the interactions and stuff that he had, as small as they were, pretty much let us all know that he's going to be the next challenger for the championship. And lo and behold, last night, he ended up winning a fatal four-way to become number one contender. And thus we are getting the match at Royal Rumble. But like I said, there's the potential it could be turned into a triple threat for all we know. Now, why is this match happening, so early in the year? Why not save it for Mania? Well, depending on, what you want to believe. I mean, you have people like JD from NY206, Just Alex, Solomonster, everybody in between, coming out and talking about the scenarios that, could be involved with this match. As to, basically the potential storylines they could go with when it comes to this match. You have Heyman reunited with Brock Lesnar. Although that could potentially be in storyline as set up by Heyman and Reigns to basically cost Lesnar the championship to Lashley. There's the talk of, you could build this up to where Brock Lesnar retains, and then maybe, you tease a unification match by having either he or Roman enter the Rumble, as both champions, as Universal WWE champion, win the thing and then challenge the other and make it title for title. There are those kind of scenarios. There are scenarios to where, like I said, it could be Heyman is tricking Lesnar, and him being fired or a ruse, and they cost Lesnar the title. Lesnar gets mad. He enters the Rumble, wins it, and then challenges Reigns at Mania to maybe, a career-ending match or something like that. Whatever the scenario you look at that's possible for WWE to take, depending on whether or not they book it properly, and it looks like this is going to be one of those kind of storylines to where they're going to allow people like Reigns, Lashley, Lesnar, and Heyman kind of carry the ball, if you will, for a majority of what we see on screen, which, by extension is a good thing. Depending on how you feel about what could come out of this, let's be totally honest. Let's be totally honest, folks, okay? Let's be totally honest as I check my time there, to make sure I'm not talking too much before getting to the point, which it looks like I am. But, let's be totally honest, folks. We all know the real reason why this match is happening. You see, this match could have happened years ago. Like, maybe not immediately when Lashley came back, but it could have happened within a year or so after he came back. But every time, there was opportunity to do it, they wouldn't pull the trigger. They would tease it, and they wouldn't do it. Both men would have momentum, and it'd be obvious, and with that momentum, it seems the logical answer is to put them against each other. They wouldn't do it. But now, But now we are finally getting it. And why? Why all of a sudden are we finally getting it? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why we're finally getting it. Because WWE realizes they need to regain that momentum that they've been losing to All Elite Wrestling. That's why. They realize that they need to basically put a stop or basically kind of slow down the momentum All Elite Wrestling's been having as of late with all their matches and everybody singing their praises for putting on matches no one else has ever thought of putting on. You know, they basically feel that right now they have no other choice. And that is why this match is happening. I mean, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, folks, that this is why the match is happening. It's not happening because of just, hey, the storyline, scenario works out fine and all the stars have aligned unexpectedly together to make this happen. Oh, no. It's not just that. It's not just that. It's not everything everybody else has talked about. It's a fact. It's basically a legitimate fact, in my opinion, and I know I'm not alone in this. It's a legitimate fact that this match is happening because WWE doesn't want to lose any momentum starting off 2022 with. And that's why it's happening. They don't want to start 2022 by losing a lot of momentum to AEW. They know that tomorrow night AEW is doing Danielson Hangman Page 2 on the TBS debut for Dynamite. They know that. And the last thing they want people to do for the next month is not the next month, but for the rest of this month, I should say. Correction, for the rest of this month. The last thing they want them to do is talk about how great that match was, how great the rematch was, and how controversial the possible outcome was, and this and that. They don't want that. They don't want everybody talking about how great that match was. They want people talking about them. They want all eyes on them. That is why this match is happening now. That is why this match is taking place at the Rumble as it is. It's not just because they want to try to sell out the arena, which holds about 65,000, almost 70,000 people, if you add seat flooring. No, it's not just that. They're doing it because they don't want to lose momentum to AEW for the rest of this month. They don't want people talking about how great Danielson Page 2 was. They don't want people talking about how great the first quarterly special Battle of the Belts was. No, they want people talking about them and what they brought to the table, at the Royal Rumble in St. Louis, as well as how they built to it for the whole month leading up to it. That's what they want. They don't want people saying, oh, did you see how great Danielson and Page was? Or did you see how great of a card Battle of the Belts was? No, they want that momentum on their side. They want people talking about them. And the best way they're going to do it, in their opinion, is to do Lesnar and Lashley right now. And hey, if it is part of the overall Lesnar Reigns storyline as well, and now you're including Lashley, to basically now ask the question, who is the most dominant in WWE between the three? That's even better. That's like adding more icing to the cake. That's like having probably the best meal, ever for dinner, if you will. It's like putting the cherry on top, as the old saying goes, because it's like you think you got something great here, but now you add even something more on top of it potentially, and you couldn't ask for a better perfect storm alignment than what you're getting now. You couldn't. And WWE realizes this. We could criticize them all we want. We could criticize them all we want for some of the dumb decisions they made, for the 80-plus people they released last year, for the fact that Toni Storm quit the company because of the way she felt they were treating her or whatever. We can, shit on them all we want. But we cannot deny that when they know they have lightning in a bottle, when they know that they have the perfect storm in their hands, whether it was unintentional, unexpected, or whatever, we have to agree that they know when to strike when they realize they have something of a perfect storm in front of them. They know when to strike. They know that it's now. They know when there's a scenario of it's now or never. And that's why we're getting Lesnar and Lashley. That's why we're getting it. Not just to build into the Reigns-Lesnar storyline and then add Lashley, like I said, to it to see who the strongest out of the three is. No. It's not just that. It's because of the fact that they realize that this is a now or never moment to get that momentum back on their side. That's what it is. And they realize it. They realize it. Because let's be honest. Let's all be honest, folks. Let's all be honest, okay? Do you think, because let me ask you this, do you think WWE really, and I mean really, had any intentions to do Lesnar and Lashley this year, if ever? Do you think they ever wanted to do it? No. Because the way they would tease it, as I mentioned earlier, the way they would tease it throughout all the times that they had opportunities to do it, they would never do it. And why? Because obviously in their minds, in my opinion, from their point of view, you could tease it all you want, but never let them touch, because they want to go down in history as saying, hey, we had two of the most dominant champions, MMA fighters on our roster, but they never touched each other. And guess what? We made sure they never would, because we want to leave that up to fantasy, to dream world, if you will. Well, guess what? Now they have no other choice. Now they have no other choice. And again, it's not because of the fact that Roman had COVID and just, unexpectedly caused stars to align and the perfect storm to come to be, out of the blue. No. It's not just because of that. They could have had Big E retain his title on Saturday. They could have had Lashley win on Saturday. They could have had Owens, Rollins win on Saturday, but they didn't. What did they do instead? They had Lesnar win because they suddenly realized, hey, we have the Rumble coming up, and hey, we could regain our momentum. And guess what? The rest is history. The rest is history, and all of us know that for a fact. All of us know that for a legitimate fact, that the rest is history. This, and again, look, this isn't about trying to, trying to work around a situation that was unexpected. It's not that. It's not that, because Lesnar is still able to go where he wants, when he wants. Even as champion, he can do that. And he's going to be on SmackDown to confront Roman, thus continuing the storyline. And whether or not this is all part of that storyline where Heyman is setting up Lesnar to fail, and he loses the title to Lashley, and then Lesnar goes in the Rumble and wins it, and then decides to face Reigns at Mania to, avenge his loss and maybe make it a career-ending match. More power to you, right? More power to you. But the thing is, we know without a shadow of a doubt, that this is all because of the fact that AEW has been kicking WWE's ass, momentum-wise, with the matches that they've been giving fans. So WWE is realizing it's now or never, even if they didn't plan on it happening, it's now or never to make one of the dream matches fans have been wanting to see become a reality. That's what this is about. It's, again, it's not just, like I said, it's not just to play into the storyline of Roman and Lesnar and all that. No, it's not just that. It's not just the inclusion of Lashley to see who the most dominant out of the three is. It's not just that. It's being done in reality, truthfully, because they have been getting the butts kicked by AEW from a match momentum perspective, and they are sick and tired of it. And it's like they realize it's now or never to make this happen, and it's now or never to get the momentum back on their side. Because like I said, do you think they want people talking for the next month or so about how great Danielson and Page 2 was on the TBS debut of Dynamite tomorrow night? Do you think they want that? No. Do you think they want people talking about how great a wrestling card the first quarterly special for AEW on Saturday with Battle of the Belts was? No. They want everybody talking about them. They want everybody talking about Lesnar Lashley. They want everybody talking about Lesnar Reigns. They want everybody talking about Lesnar, Lashley, Reigns throughout the month leading up to the Royal Rumble. That's what they want. That's why this is happening now. It's about getting the momentum back and hopefully, in their minds, never losing it again. And that's a fact. That's a truth behind why Lesnar and Lashley, in my opinion, is happening now. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think maybe I'm over-exaggerating? Or do you think it's kind of too coincidental, if you will, at the timing of this finally happening? Yeah, it's unfortunate Roman got COVID and they had to insert, Brock into another match so he had something to do. Yeah, it's unfortunate Roman got COVID. But obviously the wrestling gods were shining down upon them and saying, okay, WWE, you suffered enough. Let's get back on track. And now look where we are. But don't you think the timing's kind of ironic? And I'm saying this unbiasedly. Do you think it's kind of ironic? I do. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, check me out at my Teespring store. Also check me out at BW Roses on VENMO. Also check me out at BW Roses Discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations, except for Pandora. And if you're listening to the podcast on Anchor.fm, listener support has been activated, as well as the fact that if you're listening to the podcast on a podcast that enables video podcasting along with audio, you can also get audio and video versions of a podcast on there as well if you want to choose between the two. Also check me out at BW Roses on Patreon.com. Support me at the $1, $3 tier, potentially on the verge of doing a $5 one for Q&A. Be on the lookout for that if it gets announced. And also check me out at Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2. But what do you guys think? Don't you think the timing's kind of weird and ironic? I do. And I think it's obvious to me, not just me I should say, but I think it's obvious not just to me, but to anybody else listening, that this is all about regaining that momentum and preventing people talking more about AEW than WWE throughout the month of January. But let me know what your thoughts are. I know I sound like I rambled and everything. It may sound like I was getting a little off track, but let me know what your thoughts are. And I'll talk to you later.